Hello dear students, welcome back again to Chinmoy's YouTube channel. So today we are here with a new organ system, that is the nervous system in humans. So in previous classes you have learnt about also different organ systems of human body. We have studied about the endocrine system, we have studied about the circulatory system. So all the organs of our body, they are depending on each other for their functional activities, right? So today we are going to learn about one system whose coordination helps all the other system to act. So this is a system which brings about the coordination and integration of different body activities. So this is called the nervous system. So it is a very complex system, and I have tried to divide it into several parts so that it is easier for your understanding and learning process. So let's get started with today's episode. Now, what we are going to learn today, in today's episode, we are going to learn what is nervous system. So what is the definition of nervous system? Why is it called so? And the types of nerves, that is the sensory, motor and mixed nerves. We'll learn what are they. We will also learn in gist about the cranial nerves and the spinal nerves. So this sensory, motor and mixed nerves you have already studied in 7th standard. Again, we are going to study in a bit details, but cranial and spinal nerves, just a few things we'll learn about that. In higher classes, you'll learn in detail. Now next comes what is neuron, the structure of the neuron and synapses. So this all you have already studied in 7th standard. So this is just detail about all these things you are learning in 8th standard. So we are going to study about all these things in today's episode. In the next episode, we will be studying about the central nervous system, autonomic nervous system and peripheral nervous system. And after that, we will learn about the reflex action and all. So if you want to know more regarding this lesson as well as other lessons also as per your curriculum, please subscribe to my channel so that whenever I am putting my updates, you will get the updates if you are subscribing to it. And please do like and share my videos, and if you are having any queries or doubts, please do write in the comment box. So let us start with today's episode. So first we should know that what is nervous system. So the organ system, we have studied about the endocrine system, circulatory system and all. So this is also an organ system. So this organ system which brings about coordination and integration. So it is helping you to coordinate and integrate the different body activities is called nervous system. So let us take an example of how the coordination and integration occurs. So for example, now if you are having some food on the table, and it's a very good food which smells very good, so you'll feel hungry. You are seeing it with your eyes, your nose is smelling that, and your hands are brought down near the food to the mouth. So you are touching the food, you are taking it in your hand and you are putting it into your mouth, and the jaw muscles and the teeth will just masticate and chew the food. So this is a total coordination and integration of different organ system. So you are seeing the food with your eyes, you are smelling the food with your nose, then your hands are touching the food and taking it to the mouth, and the teeth and the jaw muscles are masticating the food or breaking down the food into the simpler form, and the saliva is being lubricated, and the process is being completed by the process of digestion. So many organ systems are involved in this one process. So this integration and coordination of different body activities is called the nervous system. So is it clear to all? So this coordination and integration is called the nervous system. So it is a complete work of nerves that carry the messages to and from the brain and the spinal cord to various parts of the body. So it is a complex network. Obviously it is having nerves, it is carrying the messages to and fro from the brain and the spinal cord to various parts of the body. Is it clear now? Now most of the responses of the body to the outside world and functioning of the various systems are controlled by the nervous system. So most of the responses of the body to the outside world and functioning of various systems are controlled by the nervous system. So this is how the system is working. So let us see what is there, and we should know that this nerves, which are the important main part of nervous system, what are they? What are the different types of nerves? Now nerves. So what are nerve cells? Nerve cells or neurons are joined end to end forming the nerves. So all the neurons, they are joined end to end to form a long string called cord-like structure called nerve. So what is a nerve look like? So nerve is actually, it is a cord-like structure and it consists of a number of nerve fibers. It is consists of a number of nerve fibers. Now you see this diagram, it is consisting of a large number of nerve fibers bundled together, and they look like the strands of a telephone cable. So this thing you can compare it with a telephone cable also. So as you see this nerve structure here, this is the muscle fiber to which the nerve is attached. This is the sarcolemma, this is sarcomere. So see this part, and these are the dark and white bands of the muscles. Okay, so and this is the myofibril, and this part inside, this is the nerve, and it is having a bunch of nerves which are looking like a telephone cable. Now we will move on to the different types of nerves. Now, what are the three different type of nerves? Now, depending upon the direction in which they transmit their impulse. So, the impulse and from where to where it is transmitted, they are depending on that, they are divided into three types. First one is the sensory nerves, second one is the motor nerves, and third one is the mixed nerves. So, let us see that from where to where the signals are being transmitted by these three types of nerves. Now, sensory nerves, these are the nerves that carry messages from the sense organs to the spinal cord and the brain. So, as the name suggests, sensory, they are carrying messages from the sense organs to either the spinal cord or the brain. So, whatever sense organ, suppose you are touching some hot object, so from the hand, from the sense organ skin, the message is being transmitted to the spinal cord or the brain. So they contain only sensory fibers. So they are having only sensory fibers. The optic nerve that send messages from the eye to the brain is a sensory nerve. So the optic nerve is carrying the sense organ from the eye to the brain is an example of sensory nerve. So like this, there are many sensory nerves which are carrying information from the sense organs to the brain. Now next comes the motor nerves. So motor nerves, what they are doing, they are carrying messages from the brain and spinal cord to the other parts of the body such as muscles and glands. So this is just an opposite of sensory nerves. They are carrying the messages from different parts of the body, like from the brain to different parts of the body. Is it clear? So they are having only motor fibers. So sensory nerve was having only sensory fibers. Motor nerves are having only motor fibers. Now nerves arising from the brain leading to the muscles of the eyeball are called the motor nerves. So from the brain they are arising and they are moving to the eyeballs. They are called the motor nerves. Now next comes the mixed nerves. So these nerves, as the name suggests, mix means they are performing both the sensory nerves and the motor nerves function. So they transmit electrical impulses from the central nervous system to muscles and of the body, and from the body to the brain also. So they are having both the type of function. So they contain both sensory and motor nerves. So they are transmitting signal from the central nervous system to the muscles of the body and vice versa. So they are having the action of both mixed and sensory, motor and sensory nerves, So they contain both sensory and motor fibers. So the nerve that transmit messages to the tongue is a mixed nerve. So this is an example of mixed nerve. So the nerve carrying impulse or messages to the tongue is a mixed nerve. Now here we are dividing the nerves based on the place from where they arise. So these nerves are also of two kinds. First one is the cranial nerve and second one is the spinal nerve. So these nerves, they arise from the brain and reach the organs in the head region. So cranial nerves, they are arising from the brain and reaching the organs of the head region only. So there are 12 pairs of cranial nerves in the body. So in higher classes 11th and 12th, you will be studying the names of each and every cranial nerves. Okay, so these are the 12 pairs of cranial nerves are there, and 31 pairs of spinal nerves are there. So these nerves arise from the spinal cord and reach various parts of the body. So these are the spinal nerves which are arising from the spinal cord and reaching various parts of the body, and these cranial nerves are arising from the brain and reaching the head region only. So they are not reaching the different parts of the body, whereas the spinal nerves, they are reaching various parts of the body, and there are 31 pairs of spinal nerves. Now here comes the neuron. So what is neuron? Neuron, it is a nerve cell and is the basic structural and functional unit of nervous system, and these neurons, they combine together to form a nerve cell, and it is the longest cell of the body. This neuron is the longest cell of the body, and messages are always received and transmitted to all parts of the body through neurons. So neurons are the basic structural and functional unit of nervous system, and they are receiving and transmitting the message to all parts of the body through neurons. And now human brain is estimated to have 100 billion neurons. So it is quite a huge number. Human brain is having 100 billion neurons, and these neurons, what are there at the time of birth only, they will be continuing throughout the life, but at a certain stage of life they start degenerating, but no new neurons or nerve cells are growing. So it is a cell which doesn't divide at all. The 100 billion cells are present at the time of birth also, and they, after, due to certain age related reasons or some reasons, they start degenerating at a certain stage of life. As we grow older, due to certain chronic diseases and all, the nerve cells start degenerating and people start forgetting. They lose the coordination and integration between all the movements. You can see that movements become shaky, they start forgetting things, there is a short-term memory loss. So these are all due to degeneration of these neurons. So now we will move on to the structure of neuron. So here we are with the structure of neuron. So the neuron consists of three main parts: the cell body, the axon and the dendrites. Now let us see this diagram and describe how the structure of neuron is. Now see, the cell body is the cyton. This is the cell body or the cyton. This part is the cell body or cyton. And this contains of the nucleus. You can see in the cell body the nucleus is there, and many short fibers called dendrons. So these dendrons are arising, these short fibers are called dendrons, which are arising from the cell body, which further divide into branches which are called dendrites. So first these branches are called dendron, and from which several sub branches are dividing, they are called dendrite. So dendrites, they receive the messages from other neurons. So dendrites are the other part which are receiving messages from other neurons, Is it clear? So they are receiving messages from other neurons. Now next comes the single long fiber, which is called the axon. Now this axon extends other side of the cell body, and it is covered by a myelin sheath. So this sheath is called the myelin sheath, and axon is the most important part of the neuron because it is carrying messages from the cell body of one neuron to another. So it is very important. It is receiving, dendrites are receiving messages, and axon, what is it doing? It is carrying the messages from cell body. So it is carrying the messages from cell body to another neuron. So cell body of one neuron to another neuron. Okay, to another neuron, the impulses are being carried to another neuron. Now messages, they are traveling along the nerve cells in a form of wave of a chemical disturbance. So this wave of chemical disturbance, what is this wave of chemical disturbance called? This is called impulse. So if your question comes, what is impulse? You will write that messages travel from nerve cells in the form of, so it is traveling in the form of wave of chemical disturbance. It is being transmitted in the wave of chemical disturbance. Okay, so this chemical disturbance, this is called an impulse, and impulse is like an electrical signal. So how it is like? It is like an electrical signal. So impulse is like an electrical signal. Is it clear? Now this is the cell body or the cyton where nucleus is there. These are the dendrons. Dendrons are again branched into dendrites, and this is axon part. Axon is having myelin sheath. These at the ends of the axon is the axon terminals through which the impulse is being transmitted from one neuron to another, and the place between two neurons is called the synapse. So that we will learn in the next slide. Now few things for a note you should understand or learn while studying this system, that is motor neurons, they are located in the central nervous system. Now, motor neuron is a nerve cell in which the cell body is located in the spinal cord. So, the cell body is located in the spinal cord while the axon fiber of the cell body is projected outside the spinal cord to control the effector organs such as muscles. So, if the cell body part of the neuron is located in the spinal cord, the outer side or the axon part is located outside the spinal cord in the muscles. So this is how it works. They are carrying messages from the spinal cord to the effector organ or the muscle to bring about the effect. So as in the spinal cord the cell body is located, and in the outer part, that is in the muscular part, the axon is located. So effector organ, it is bringing about effects. So this is how the motor neurons are transmitting their messages or transmitting the impulses. So let us take one example, such as if a person is having damage or an injury in the spinal cord, what will happen? The muscles get paralyzed. From the lower part of the body, we can see the lower part of the body, mostly it's affected. If it is the lower part of the spinal cord is affected, all the lower part of the body muscles get weakened or paralyzed, because the cell body or the which is located in the spinal cord has been damaged, and the fibers connected, axon fibers connected to that cell body also has been damaged. So the effector organ or the muscle with which they were acting or reacting, or the impulse was being carried to them, is not working properly. So due to an injury in spinal cord, due to an accident of spinal cord, the muscles have gradually weakened and they have stopped responding to the impulse which is being received by the cell body or the dendrites. Okay. So now this is how, after accident or the rupture or any damage in spinal cord, this muscles, they stop working or they are weakened. Now one motor neuron may connect many muscle fibers because it is a multipolar thing. So that is multipolar, it is having many poles. It is a multipolar thing, that is each nerve has a single axon and many dendrites. So it is clear many dendrites are there near, they are connected to the cell body and only one axon is there. So this is the motor neuron. This you should know how they are acting within the spinal cord and how they are connecting to the muscles, how they are carrying messages, and thus remember this example of spinal cord getting damaged and the muscles being weakened or paralyzed. Now let us move on to the next one. Now, synapse, or the gap between two neurons, is called synapse. So this is the gap between two neurons and this is called the synapse. Now, neurons, they do not come in direct contact with each other. There is a gap. This is called the synapse, and they communicate in each other via the synapses, where the axon where the axon terminal, one of the neuron lies, and close to that the dendrites of another neuron lies. So you can see the axon terminal of one neuron, it is connecting with the dendrites of other neurons. So the signals are transmitted from one neuron to the next neuron, one neuron axon terminal to the next neuron dendrite. So how it is happening? So synapse is a junction where the communication of two neurons occurs. So how this is happening, this in higher classes you will study in details, but for a gist I am discussing. See, you can see this is the synaptic cleft, and here several vesicles of chemical are there, neurotransmitters are there. So they are merging into this we can say this outer cell body, and they are releasing this neurotransmitter in the synaptic cleft. And these neurotransmitters are, again, there are ion channels. They are moving on to the next dendrites for the receiving, which are the receiving chambers. So this is how the action, the impulses are carrying impulses to the axon terminals. There are neurotransmitters filled vesicles which are fusing with the plasma membrane, and the neurotransmitter is thus released in the synaptic cleft, and again they are absorbed by the neurotransmitter molecules and ion channels, and this is being transmitted. So impulse is being transmitted in the form of molecules. So neurotransmitter is released in the synaptic cleft and binds to certain receptors which are present in the dendrites, and thus the signal is transmitted. So this is all about the synaptic transmission, which we are going to study in the higher classes. So this is the synaptic transmission, and it's a bit difficult for your standard, and it will be discussed in higher classes. So you just understand what is synapse. The gap between two neurons is a synapse, and the neurons do not come in direct contact with each other. So this is all for today's episode, and it's enough. Go through your this full video, through the notes, through the diagrams which I have discussed, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, because the next episode will be on the nervous system in humans. That is three types of nervous system: central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, and autonomic nervous system, which we will be discussing. So subscribe to my channel, stay tuned, stay updated with all my lessons. As of now, this is lesson is the first part is completed, so we'll come back with the next part. Thank you.